We, as Black Americans, are always aware that there are so many things happening on our watch, and we have to be cognizant of these things happening on our watch. I mean, some of the things that we have to review as in a lifetime are unnecessary and uncalled for. As Black in America, in our own land, we need to be aware of the length people will go to maintain secrets about who we are, where we are, what's ours, and what's not ours. There's always been a real problem with that. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA, broadcasting from a Black perspective. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. My name is Smith-Bey. I am your host for this afternoon. I apologize for getting on quite a bit late today. We have to work on our technicalities, and we're testing on a new platform. That's 99% of the reason why. And I'd like to ask you to just be patient with us and give us the time to get it together on this new platform. This is the real voice of Black USA, broadcasting live. We want to know what you have to say. So if you have something to say, you can automatically give us a call at 210-241-5493, or you can always text or email that same number, and I will be available to address your concerns. I just had to get the phone, put it over here. I can always say that we will always be the underdogs, and they will always look at us as the underdogs because we are the cautious ones. We don't want to make mistakes, and we don't want to be victims of their mistakes. So in order for us to do that, we have to be very, very aware of what's going on. Today, I wanted to explore some of the situations around Tulsa, Oklahoma. Not only Tulsa, Oklahoma, but any other American society where we as a people attempted to strive in America. And for some reason, we were unfortunate enough to not be given, not left that road open. Basically, the gatekeepers were there. And these gatekeepers are the people that see so much in our community that they want. And the only reason that I think that they kill our neighborhoods and our communities is because they see how we can take nothing and make so much out of it, such a big deal out of nothing, and celebrate to that nothingness to a level where it makes them jealous. And they want to have that nothingness. They want to take that nothingness away from us when we're so happy with that nothingness that we've created. Somehow that has been the crisis we've dealt with from time on in, and it just doesn't stop. It is a constant battle for us as so-called Black Americans, African Americans, and any other richly colored, melanated people on this continent. This conversation is not for the other people. This is for Black people, for us. I don't know where we are going to draw the line in the sand and say, don't cross this line anymore. You remember when we were children, you draw the line. As long as you didn't cross that line, you can do whatever you wanted to do. But as long as you didn't cross that line, you won't have a problem with me on the other side of the line. So the moment you touch your toe on that line, basically that means war. That's an act of war. We fought in every single battle that this country has had to face. We've built in every single neighborhood that this country has built. We've cultivated the land before anybody ever cultivated the land in this country. There are so many different things that we've done, thousands, if not millions of contributions that we've given to this land that we've not received credit for. But when you know, and I'm sure you probably heard this all over the country, that everybody have received their just compensation, reparation, except for the native people. And for them to try and they try to give everybody our culture and make everybody else think that our culture belongs to them. I'm here to tell you it's a damn lie. Every single story, to include the stories that you recite so diligently from the Bible, should be questioned, because every single story that you know, that you and I know from a Black perspective, is a lie. We're not who they think they want you to think you are. I chose the well, Mr. Claude and I chose the topic for this week and Sunday as the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots. The Tulsa, Oklahoma riots was in 1921, and thousands of people were murdered on that particular day. Now, what would cause a bunch of white folks, to include the local police, the local city government, to turn the other way when white folks from all over Oklahoma made their way into Tulsa so they can murder Black people? That is the only reason they came, to murder Black people. Now, you want to go back a little bit farther, when they went to church every Sunday, and I mean, it was almost the religion of white people to go to church on Sunday. You know, going out to hang a Black man was just like going to church, basically. That's what I'm saying. Because they did not miss church on Sunday, and they did not miss hanging a Black man on Sunday. It was back to back. Every Sunday they went to church. If it wasn't in this county or this township this Sunday, it was in the next town or next township the next Sunday. So every single Sunday, these white folks went to church, and they visited other churches in other counties and other cities to attend their hanging, just like the people from there attended the hanging here or wherever they may have been. So hanging a black man was no different than going to church on Sunday. But yet you want to sit back and say, we are so holy, we are so reverent, we love the Lord, and he heard our cry. You act as if you are the next thing to God. But in reality, you know who you are, and you know that you've been a thief your entire existence in the Americas. You know that there were more than 10 million black people on this continent when you first arrived. So you ask yourself, and I ask the question all the time, how could a handful, a boatload of people, 20 people, 30 people at the most, gain control over the 10 million people already here on land? There's two things that you would have to consider is the temperament, the lifestyle, the approach to life as the people on the continent when you got here, opposed to the people that were forced out of your native land on that ship to come here. You didn't come here because you wanted to, because you already knew you were being shut out of your community wherever you were. So you had to go do what they did to you somewhere else. So you came here to this continent. And when you got here, you were faced with either dying from starvation and whatever else disease that you brought with you, or you had to come up with this master manipulative scheme to outthink or out manipulate your person standing next to you, your white folks. Each of you came with your manipulating schemes, and you basically tossed it all in the water and hoped to wait till something came back. So many of your schemes were successful, and you manipulated the native people to receive you and teach you how to survive. So from day one, your activity has been to manipulate, deceive, steal, take, murder, embezzle. I mean, I can be every single foul word in the dictionary applies to you. But you try to flip the script and make it look like it's us that are the screwed up people. You've tried on several different levels to take our identity. For one, you took the Italians and the people from India and did your best to make them into the American Indian. You took the Spanish and tried to make them into your native Indians. You took Mexicans and tried to make them into your native Indians, all to camouflage the people that you knew owned the land, the black people, the 10 million or so black people that were here, that you systematically murdered, tortured, killed, raped, pillaged. I don't even think there's enough words of that in that nature to say what y'all did to our ancestors. And then the ultimate sacrifice was to enslave all of our people. You did it. And you only did it through the torturous methods that you used. There is no way you could have done what you did without being manipulative on the planet. You are the worst people. You have manipulated your way throughout the planet Earth. Every single continent you set foot on, there has been a mass exodus or a mass murder scheme orchestrated by you and the Catholic Church, the Vatican, to include our people. And that is where it really hurts. My ancestors opened their arms up to you, and you came in like a bull in a china closet and you destroyed them. Kind people, you destroyed them. Nice people, you destroyed them. And here it is, 2024. And some of our people are still trying to be nice. And you see how you destroyed them hundreds of years ago for being nice. They lost everything. Everything. You go to places like Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you go to Black Wall Street to see where it used to be. It's nothing, no comparison. And the add insult to defeat, you build a baseball stadium on the same square, Jackson Square. And you try to incorporate it into Black Wall Street. But you give no incentives to the people who own the land. You just took that land and built your stadium there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it wasn't yours. You offer a little museum off to the side across from the oldest church that many of the people tried to attack, but they couldn't get it burned down. I think it's Mount Calvary. You think that museum is compensation for what you did during the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots? Nobody, I don't know if anybody ever told you what that riot started from. It started from a local shoeshine boy who needed to use the bathroom. And if you saw that movie with these sisters who did the mathematical calculations for going to the moon, you saw how they had to run to the next building to go to the bathroom and then come back, go to work. Well, the shoeshine boy had to go 2 or 3 blocks to go use a bathroom that they would allow in that day the colored people to use. So he was running to get to the bathroom and get back in the 10 minutes allocated to him to go to the bathroom. So he get there, he pushed the button on the elevator's taking its dear time like it always does. When the elevator gets down, the door flung open, the boy rushed into the elevator and his foot caught the edge of the elevator and he fell into the elevator. When he fell into the elevator, he fell on a white woman. And she claims he was fondling her. So she told somebody that told somebody that told somebody that mustered and rallied the troops. So by 10 o'clock the next morning, there were thousands of white men from all over the state in Tulsa, Oklahoma, ready to pounce on Black Wall Street, claiming they were looking for the boy because he assaulted a white woman. The police were part of it. The National Guard was part of it. But yet, when it comes to the $1.2 trillion in today's currency that they owe the descendants of the Tulsa riots, Tulsa, Oklahoma refused to pay. There's only one person still alive from the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots. And it ain't about paying her all of that money. It's about them planting that generational wealth in the rest of the descendants of those people that live there. Over half of those people will never be found again. That's how they do us on every single case. When a baby is born on a slave plantation, they take the baby and send it off to the next plantation to keep us as mixed up as we can possibly be. They did that shit on purpose. They did every single thing to try and screw us royally on every level. And every time we took a step forward, they made us take 4 steps back. So many Black people have been tortured and killed. And here we are today as Black people bearing no pain, bearing no ill will, and thinking that slavery and discriminatory behaviors are over. But you don't seem to fucking get it, my men, my women. You don't see the reality of what's happening today. Why do we not get recognized for the accomplishments that we have made? Why is it that we got to try twice as hard as the next person to get where we need to go? Why do nobody complains about the broken English that Japanese and Chinese and Koreans speak, but the moment a Black person says something like axe, then you get the 3rd degree because you didn't say ask? Why is it like that? I try very hard to figure out what is it that they want from the Black American, the African American, the Black so-called person. You know, they all know that all these names that they've used for us don't apply. They call us what? Black American, African American, colored, Negro, and some other names too. But these names do not apply to us. But the entire structure of the USA it's been set up to make us fail. And by God, I mean, many of us have failed and died behind it. Many of us have been killed with no justification behind it. And nobody seemed to think twice about following back on all these murders and all these deaths that happened in America, and we let it go. You know, Emmett Till, great nephew, ended up being the governor of Mississippi a few years back, about 10 years back. Emmett Till murderers, Mr. Bryant, ended up his great nephew ended up being the damn governor of Mississippi. And as you know, even though Mississippi got 40%, almost 50% Black, it still only gets about 8 to 10% of the voting power of all those Black people, because people don't want to participate. We don't want to be part of politics. And can you understand. I don't even know where to say this at. How do you understand how important it is for you to vote? If you don't vote, if you don't get into politics, black man, black woman, then you might as well just say, give them the Vaseline and let them have it, because you ain't gonna make it until you get into politics. The politicians control the purse, and because they control the purse, they control the law. And because they control the law, they write it based on what they want done to you. And they protect who they want to protect. And you seem to act like it's all a democracy. Hell no, it ain't no all democracy. Look at all the shit that has happened to our people. You know, why is it that a black man will get 30 years for a piece of crack, cocaine, a rock, and a white man will get 90-day probation for a fucking ounce of cocaine? That's not right. But they know exactly how right it is and how wrong it is. The entire structure has been designed focused on you. Focused on you. You think that you want to get the emancipation and we run around here celebrating like they did us a damn favor. Only thing that did was took the burden off the white man's hand and put it on the state's hand. That's all it did. Because you walk off the plantation free, allegedly, but you didn't get told that you need to take the oath of amnesty to become a citizen. But the Confederate soldiers that fought with the Confederate military were told you need to take the oath of amnesty. And you took it, the white boys, the Confederates. But them slaves coming off the plantation ain't been told shit but get the fuck off my land. And they did, to get right back on their land through state operations. So since the government in the Emancipation Proclamation, which there are 4 proclamations, by the way, there's one called compensation. In that compensation Emancipation Proclamation, the federal government said that they would pay slave holders up to $10 per slave liberated. So every slave they turn loose, the federal government would pay them up to $10. Well, that was another pot of money that the slave owners was looking at. Let's get this money and we'll bring them right back. So they liberated slaves. And then when you come out with the 14th Amendment, which is several months after the Emancipation Proclamation, you say, I'm not paying for shit. This is the federal government talking. I'm not paying you. I don't give a damn what you had. I don't care if you let go 1,000 slaves. I am not going to pay you for that 1,000 slaves. So that's what it is. Take it or leave it. And if you leave it, get the hell out of the US of A. So the US denied, the federal government denied payment to slaveholders. So, but in compensation to that denial, they took the Confederate generals that just did the oath of amnesty and said, hey, this is what we're going to do. Since we're not going to pay y'all, we're going to give y'all all 11 states back. Every piece of land that was part of your state, we're going to give it back to you, and y'all could run it the way you see fit. So giving that land back to the very people you just got through fighting for the very things that they love to practice and what they were fighting for, you basically gave them a green card telling them, hey, hey, even though y'all lost the war, really you won, because now I'm giving you all operations of the state, and you can comply or you don't have to comply. Ain't too much we gonna do about it. It doesn't matter. So when they put those Confederate generals back in charge, many of them went straight after the land, the 40 acres and a mule that had been promised by the assassinated Abraham Lincoln administration. So they take the land back from the black people, but they didn't get it all, but they got a very big chunk of it back into the right, the I ain't gonna even say the original owners, into the people's hand that had stole it from the people before them. They gave the land back. And then they told them, you know, you're gonna have to do what you do. It's up to you on how you do it. So these 11 states got together and decided that they were going to come up with the black codes. So not even 7 days after the Emancipation Proclamation was issued, the black codes hit the market. So with the black codes back on the market, the objective had one objective, one only: get that slave back, get that freed black man back on the damn plantation. And how are we going to do that? We're going to charge them with any and everything. One of your shoes weren't tied, that's 10 years in prison or 5 years in prison. You looked at somebody the wrong way, that's 3 years in prison. You know, you don't look well groomed, that's another year in prison. So all kind of laws that you can think of, a black was placed in custody. And once they're in custody, they ended up rerouted back to the plantation that they just left as a free person. Now they can go, they got to go back, but they can't leave. So the difference is when people were slaves on the plantation, that's property of the white man. You belong to the white man. But when you got transferred back to the same plantation, you were not property of the white man. You were property of the state, because the plantation owner paid the state, the jail, to lease you back to the plantation. What does that mean for the slave? The worst case scenario. That means that the slave now does not have an insurance. He doesn't have insurance, because his insurance beforehand was where Mr. Billy had to take care of him, because he belongs to Mr. Billy. Just like Mr. Billy Cows, he had to take care of him. He had to take care of slaves. But now you being leased back to the plantation, that takes away all responsibility from Mr. Billy. So Mr. Billy ain't got to do shit for you. He barely got to feed you. He barely has to feed you. And he definitely don't give you no damn medical consideration. He works your ass to death. So though the death rate of the slave, the prison side slave, rose tremendously. A lot of slaves died. A lot of former slaves died going through that jail system and coming back to the plantation, because that plantation owner had no responsibility to feed you, to clothe you, to medical you, to do nothing for you but work the shit out of you. And we should feel this shit by now as, you know, descendants of our vets, of our former slaves. We should feel this. And if we don't feel the weight of our ancestors, you know, pushing us forward to do something, to make a change, to gain back our land. And they don't, you know, they just tell us this all the time in so many different ways. I mean, and we talk about the Bible and everything else that says who we are, but yet we allow Israel to claim that they are the original people. And how you gonna be the original people and you just got created in 1948? So the hell with y'all. And then if somebody say you like Lebanon, then they want to say you're anti-Semitic. You know, you're damned if you don't. They think they can just frame some shit, and then if you say something against it, you're illegal with your words. They lock up so many people based on the color of their skin, the nature of their conversation. And they don't really focus on you until you really become a danger to their progress. Their progress is one thing: to maintain control of the land. They control this country. It's not theirs, it's still ours. You don't think this land is yours? You don't think you got a right to say something about it? Then you probably don't understand who you are. You've lost touch with your ancestors. You got to go back and figure out who you are. And it's not as hard as you think, but you have to have a connection. I mean, you practiced your culture for thousands of years before they brought the first boatload of people, black people, over here. You practice your culture for thousands of years. So you're going to tell me 200, 300 years, 399 years going to change the way you lived for thousands of years? So you have no obligation whatsoever to go back on how you were before your ancestors were brought here. You don't have no connection to that. You just say fuck all of that. I'm moving forward. I don't want to look back. We're not prejudiced here in America. Are you this naive about what's happening here around and among and through us all the time? There was one period of time where we were just getting picked off like ducks in a damn pond. And nobody complained. You know, we got it from the news and they made it sound so tragic, but they only added once, maybe twice, if that many. Then they move right on. And then the next time you might see it, if and only if it went to court, then you would get to see it. But most of those cases didn't go to court. They settle outside of court and said, okay, yeah, our police got a little too aggressive there. So we're going to reprimand him. He ain't going to do it no more. You know, once a racist, you're always a racist. The only thing to stop you from being a racist is if you cannot be a racist anymore. I'm telling you, the only thing to stop you from being a racist is if you cannot be a racist anymore. And if you cannot be a racist, that means you're incapacitated, you're lost it physically or mentally, or some type of ailment that prevents you from being a racist. As long as you got your senses, your ability to speak, walk, talk, and you were a racist, you're going to stay a racist. That's the sad part. The question was asked to a white Southerner a few years ago. And the question was, do you have black people body parts in your house, or do you know friends that have black people body parts in their house? And the person refused to answer the question because you and I both know that as many pieces of black people that they cut off of black people for 100, 200, 300 years, that stuff ain't disappeared. It has not disappeared. It's sitting in somebody's basement right now. Right now. They made books out of black people's skin. They made, book covers. They made shoes out of black people's skin. They did a lot of things with black people's skin that's, irrehensible. You can't make this shit up, You can't make it up. But you let them tell it. They didn't do a damn thing. They the most honest. And you look at TV on Sundays, you see them all in there just singing and praising and saying, "Well, wonder where we're gonna go hang a nigger at today." Go outside and look in the trunk. They all got their goddamn white suits in the trunk. What's different? Nothing. They still want to be that way. And if we give them that opportunity, they will. And that's what bothers me when I see black people so naive where they allow their young child, 10, 9, 8, whatever the age, to hang out with a shitload of white folks. And then they want to know why the white folks done tied their son to the tree out in the front yard playing Indian, or why they have stuck matches or something up the boy's ass or the girl's ass and lit it, or why black men or black boys get rolled up in carpets and hidden away in the basketball court. Too many incidents of bullshit have occurred and happened to our children. But some mothers and some fathers don't play that mess. Teachers today target children all the time because they can't stand a child that's smarter than them. And there are children smarter than the teachers nowadays. They're not as wise, or they don't have as much broad knowledge as that teacher, but they are smarter than the teacher, period. And when a teacher discovers that a child, especially a black one, and that teacher is white, smarter, they're going to do everything in their power to get rid of that damn kid, because they don't want nobody to know that a black child is smarter than them. We have to deal with this kind of stuff day in and day out, from top to bottom. It's so subtle right now. For instance, you're standing in a line at a grocery store. The person in front of you is white. You're black. And the person in front of you finally makes it to the counter and starts to put their stuff on the counter. And the clerk or receptionist, "Hey, how are you doing, Miss Mary? It's so glad to see you here at our local BEH." And then they go and put the groceries up, and then here, thank you, appreciate you. Did you find all this, everything and all that bullshit, right? So now it's your turn. You put all your stuff on the belt and you move forward, and you don't hear a damn word. You don't hear nothing but crickets. You hear them damn crickets. You hear the crickets? Let's see. I thought I had some crickets. No, I ain't got no crickets. Where's the damn cricket? The crickets are gone. There we go. All right, I found the cricket, y'all. That's all you hear, crickets. And the crickets are basically there because they want to show you that they can't stand waiting on you, but they have to because it's their job. But they ain't gonna say shit to you unless you force them to. And so when you do notice this kind of shit that happen, then you have to address it. But you don't get mad. That's the thing. You don't have to get mad. "Oh, you got me effed up." You don't have to do all that. You can say, "Excuse me, didn't I just witness you say ABC to that woman in front of me?" "Yeah." "Well, why did you not say it to me?" I'm saying, "This is your register number is 22. Okay. and it's 7/12, I'm gonna turn your ass in. Bring it to them. You have to identify. And when you don't identify, you're promoting racist behavior. When you don't identify, you are promoting the racist behavior. The Tulsa, Oklahoma riots, if you haven't had a chance to visit Black Wall Street, Jackson Square, you need to go. Every year they have a very nice, a few very nice events happening there. And you should go visit that area because it's a really surreal, interesting place to visit, especially the cemetery where they allegedly buried most of the Black people. It is something that you will never ever forget. The Tulsa, Oklahoma riots. When there's so much going on in this world today, there's a lot of shit going on in America as well. Even though we haven't been attacked so far by another foreign country, we have to defend ourselves from within, because everybody want to use you as a scapegoat. From A to Z, you are the scapegoat. Anytime there's somebody to sacrifice, it's going to be you or the Black man. Anytime somebody has to get fired, it's going to be you, the Black man. Anytime somebody needs to be made an example of, it is going to be you, the Black man. Anytime there is a subtle racist behavior inside of a person and they want to get it out, they're going to use it against you. You have to get to a point in your life where you're just tired of the bullshit and you're tired of being disrespected. How many times can you allow yourself to be disrespected? Well, let me put it this way. How many times can you continue to allow yourself to be disrespected? And then you want to say, I ain't voting because I want to send a message. That's the biggest crock of bullshit I done heard yet. What do you mean you're going to send a message by not voting? You don't realize the significance of your single damn vote? Damn, motherfuckers died for you to get your ass to the poll, and you don't even want a damn vote because you want to send a message. That's bullshit. You have to stand your ground. You have to make a way for Black people in this country. It's not going to happen easy, and it's not going to happen overnight, but it's never going to happen unless you stop being a pansy ass and start standing up for what's right for you. It's never going to happen. Give yourself the opportunity. Give your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren an opportunity. What, you just want to go and die off and let them fight the fight? It's your fight. It is your fight. It is your fight. This Sunday at 3:30 p.m., we're going to talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the Jackson or the Wall Street riots, why they killed all these Black people and act like they ain't did shit and ain't paid them shit since then. This is the Black News Network, 3:30 Sunday afternoon and 6:30 on Wednesdays. Sorry we were late today. You can find it in your heart. Send me a cash app at $SMITHWAR. You can find it in your heart to put us a message out here on this broadcast. That would be nice. Subscribe to us on YouTube and like us on Facebook, and soon do what you do on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for listening to our broadcast today. I will talk to you on a rebound. Have a good day today and a better